I'm Jen Quigley-Baker from the Disney Parks blog representing Walt Disney World Public Relations. We're getting ready to ask some of your questions to our panel of Imagineers. Please help me welcome back to the stage Kathy Mangum, Kevin Rafferty, Charita Carter, and Scott Malwitz. Welcome back, everybody. We have a lot of great questions from our audience today, so let's dive right in, okay? First question, why is a Mickey Mouse attraction a good fit for Disney's Hollywood Studios?
I think it's a great fit for Disney Hollywood Studios because this story in particular for this attraction, as we mentioned earlier, it's really all about you. It's your experience. It's what happens when you get into the attraction story. And so one thing I love about it as well is it's going to be where the Chinese theater is, and that is in the very heart of the park. And what better place for Mickey to be than the very heart of the park?
And I was just going to add, and the cartoons that we love are just so wacky, and everything can happen. It really just gave us this wonderful palette because just anything can happen in the attraction. So we're really excited about it.
I can build on a little bit what they're saying. Mickey Mouse is really wonderful. We've never done a attraction completely dedicated to him, but this is the park that we are really trying to transform and put you into an immersive experience, and you just don't see a Mickey Mouse cartoon, you're in a Mickey Mouse cartoon, and we really want people to build memories and adventures in this park in that kind of way, being in the middle, seeing things completely differently.
Sure.
All right, question number 2. How immersive do you expect Star Wars Galaxy's Edge to be, as well as the Star Wars Hotel, and how will the two experiences work together?
Yes, the Star Wars Land is conceived to be your place to explore, your place to find your own story. This is not the story of the Skywalkers, it's not the story of some of the people you know. This is a place that we're taking you to explore on your own terms, to interact with the residents and the visitors on your own terms, so that you get that level of exploration and immersion around every corner. Relative to the hotel I think is next door. I believe we haven't talked a lot about it, but I would expect the same kind of level of immersion, storytelling, and exploration and self-direction, right? Self-determination, this idea that you're setting your own path, you're exploring this galaxy, you get to do it on your own terms.
Great. What's it been like to work with the Lucasfilm project team?
Oh, they've been great partners on this. They were as excited as anyone for us to go to a new planet that you haven't been to understand and take visitors to this place that is part of their mythology, right? Part of their overall narrative, and certainly known to some of our favorite characters in the Star Wars universe. But to be able to feel the spaces for the first time, because film production is very different from theme park production, and for them to feel the massive weight of a 6-foot wall, right? Or what the hull of the Millennium Falcon actually feels like, which you've got to remember is usually CGI or just a set piece. And for us, for the first time, we're able to bring these spacecraft to life out of beautiful materials, aircraft aluminum. Nothing feels right like for an aircraft than aircraft aluminum. So it's like great partners, very excited about our work, and it's really about mutual respect and admiration for depth of storytelling and depth of immersion.
Okay, so we opened Toy Story Land this morning. It's amazing to open a land. What's it going to be like to finally open Star Wars Galaxy's Edge next year and finally show and unveil all of those experiences to guests?
Me?
Yeah.
Well, I was with the Toy Story Land team this morning, and today is the happiest day of their life, and it's the saddest day of their life, because you give over something that you've really focused on and worked on for 4 or 5 years, and then we're going to be going through this next year again with the Star Wars Galaxy's Edge opening. It's what we look forward to so much, but I have to tell you, it's really weird walking through a land without a hard hat on and with people that aren't you in it. It's going to be unbelievable. It's really hard, almost impossible to describe what it's like. But what it's going to do to this park, we're going to have at that point 25 acres of brand new immersive experience. That's just massive. We've never done anything on that scale.
I think it's an interesting thing when attractions when Team Land is open, because the project team goes through a very interesting cycle, and it's years in development, right? And so very early on, it's just a handful of people, right? And you're hoping that this concept and this idea stays alive, that your vision of this immersive storytelling can be maintained, and then the tent gets bigger and the tent gets bigger, and you develop your design and you start to work with some of the best effects and finished people in the business, and soon you've got 1,100 people on site that you're trying to direct. And but as Kathy said, you're out there every day in your hard hat, making sure that you're preserving this intent of this immersive environment, and then suddenly it's over. Suddenly you don't get to go there every day. Suddenly you don't get to see the same people that are on the project team every day. But you do get to see the guests. That's the feeling. You get to walk out, and for the first time, the people who you're developing all these stories for, the people who you're setting the tone for, the people who you're creating these environments for, are reacting to what you have conceived and delivered as a team, which is so exciting, so powerful. Just amazing
And
stuff.
for that reason, I was like to say, it's never easy, but it's always worth it.
That's right.
Great. Well, Kathy briefly mentioned how exciting today is for our Pixar friends as well. That ties into question number 4 we have. Pixar does bring a lot of feelings out of our guests. They evoke a lot of emotions, and specifically for the characters in the Pixar franchise. How do you Imagineers find inspiration to evoke those feelings in our guests?
Well, we work with the filmmakers. That gives us a huge advantage. We understand the characters almost as much as they do. And we work together on establishing what those experiences would be that we want to put these characters in, that we want to put you in to experience with them. So it's an iterative process. I think with Toy Story Land, you see, we're talking about giving up these lands as our children, and it's a happy day and it's a sad day. And think of how Toy Story 3 ended with Andy going off to school, and that emotion we feel, and we try to put that emotion. And sometimes, lots of times, if you look around Toy Story Land, it's full of humor. These movies are funny, and if my favorite example that I like to give is the cooties out in front of the restrooms. It's just a little unsaid, little funny little moment out there, and you look at all the graphics and the cue for Slinky Dog Dash. Mr. Prickle Pants has a special song out there. It's just, we really work with them, and I think we try to evoke all these emotions of bringing you back to what you felt when you watched those fabulous movies for the last 20-something years.
Okay, Kathy, we have a specific question for you. What is the perfect age to bring a child for the first time? And for first-time visitors, what's the one thing you want them to know?
Well, I would say that what this park is becoming is a place for all ages. We've got something for everybody, and what I love about Toy Story Land is that it is for everybody. Those movies have been around for over 20 years, so it's several generations now who have loved Woody and Buzz and Bo Peep and everyone for so long that I think the thing that we want people to know, first-time visitor, is please come. There's going to be something here you love. Lots of stuff that's existing, Tower of Terror, Rock and Roller Coaster, favorites, everybody's favorites, and now we're just adding on to that. It's first-time visitor is going to, I think, be blown away by the breadth of what we're offering.
A lot more things for folks of all ages.
All ages.
Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway comes, it's going to be an entire family
Whole
audience.
family,
So,
right.
whole family.
And you mentioned favorites, Kathy. Do each of you have a favorite Pixar character? If you had to pick one.
Go.
Me?
Yeah.
Well, you'll relate to this.
Yeah.
And you know where I'm going.
Yeah, I think I do.
Kathy and I worked on Cars Night together, so my favorite character is Mater.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah. I like Guido.
and Guido. Guido too. I mean,
He
they're hard
doesn't
to
talk
say.
much.
Yeah.
Sharita.
Well, the first thing that comes to mind is, I think, going back Fleck. And one of the reasons for that is because my dad relates to him so much. He has a special place in my heart.
I don't know, I think I just developed a new fondness for Wheezy, though, when you're at the end. Wheezy, when he knew he could sing, he could croon like that. I love Wheezy.
And I'm going to go old school. I'm going to go Luxo, because when that short premiered, and I remember just in astonishment what was being achieved on the screen, and kind of the emotion that can be generated out of an inanimate object, a lamp, and a ball. Brilliant storytelling with very little, very little else except two things. So powerful stuff can happen with simple characters and great storytelling.
That's what started it all.
Yeah, no, it's wonderful.
Okay, talking about great storytelling, we have time for one last question from the audience, and this is for Scott. Circling back to Star Wars, the question is, what is the best experience for a Star Wars fan celebrating a milestone, specifically the Big 5-0?
All right, who is it? I'm not that far ahead of you. But can I ask you, were you in line in 77 for the first one? No? No reason.
I don't know. Maybe it's a surprise party.
Oh, yes, okay, sorry, good. Yeah, just share that energy and that love for this narrative, right? This exciting story about possibility and about perseverance and about how anything can happen to you if you just want it to happen for yourself. And, I can't peg one experience other than the experience of sharing something as powerful and multi-generational as the Star Wars brand, right? As the Star Wars narrative. I get the benefit of sharing it with my 18-year-old, whose entree was Clone Wars and Rebels, and really didn't spark to the films until recently. Really didn't understand the power of the storytelling there. And so, for us to be able to translate that now into the physical environment and the built environment, and to allow you to explore your own story inside of that is going to be amazing. And wherever you are, I'll meet you out there. And I can't wait for you to actually run your hands along the Falcon. And actually get the feel for that ship for the first time. It's going to be spectacular.
That sounds amazing. Well, thank you for all your extra time to spend with us today and everybody. It's been very insightful, and thank you for all of your great questions. Yeah. This concludes the Q&A portion of this afternoon's presentation. We now invite you to join us next door for lunch in Salon K. Thank you, everybody.